Okay, today I'm going to be working on the magnifying transmitter. So in my previous videos, I've had a lot of comments of people asking me to do another video on the magnifying transmitter. So if you'll notice, I stamped the date of each video at the bottom right of the screen, or at least I try to every time. So this video was made in the date that's at the bottom right of the screen. So the reason I haven't been posting as much about the magnifying transmitter, I've been working on it, but I haven't posted as much about it because I've noticed every time I talk about something to do with the magnifying transmitter, for instance, the rotary spark gap and how I can improve it, I notice other people start trying to work on the same exact thing and finish it before me. So that's why I don't talk about things with this anymore. Now, I will still keep posting about this, but I'm not going to give quite as much detail as I have before. That goes for all the other things I'm working on as well. Some things I don't talk about on here. Now, it has been a good minute since I have fired up the magnifying transmitter, as I have moved to East Texas. And I come back here occasionally to work on it. I try to shoot for every other weekend to come back here and work on it. Now, still, the extra coil in the center needs to be rewound. It is severely out of tune, and as you can see, there are some wires loose on our secondary coil. Let's go inside the magnifying transmitter and fix those loose secondary wires. So as y'all know from my previous videos, if y'all have watched them, this is not the final magnifying transmitter. I'm still trying to build another one that is better, but this is what I've got for now with the funds I have. So the sun is just now setting. This is the most excellent time to start this project, because then once I fire it up, y'all will be able to see some interesting effects. Okay, let us staple these wires back up. I do use staples. It's not ideal, but that's what I've got. Here's my power stapler. So while I was stapling these wires back up, I just thought of something. So in every one of my videos about the magnifying transmitter, I always have at least one person, sometimes it's way more than one person, but at least one person say, oh, this system is never going to be efficient and won't work ever. I have proved that it will work in my videos. All you have to do is go back and watch my previous videos, like the one where I sent electricity wirelessly 918.6 miles to Nick in Chicago. His TikTok just got banned the other day, but it was Saint Nick or Saint Nicholas, something like that. But anyway, there is a video of him receiving the electricity from this contraption right here. It's on YouTube and pretty much everywhere on my social media. Anyway, that proves that this works. And I sent that electricity with an untuned extra coil. That thing was completely out of tune when I did that. So I was solely sending from the secondary coil, which is a fourth of the wavelength of the frequency I want to transmit at. But it's also tuned to resonate at that frequency. I guess what I'm trying to say is, if you haven't done the experiment yourself, don't jump to conclusions. A good scientist will always perform the experiment for themselves to prove or disprove the point. So we have successfully reattached all the wires. I know for a fact this thing is severely out of tune right now, and it is in no ideal condition to transmit right now, but we will be able to see some interesting effects when I turn this on. But every time one of the wires falls off of the secondary or anywhere, it detunes the coil because the spacing is different when I get it stapled back up. That is why I use an oscilloscope and a signal generator to tune my magnifying transmitter. I will have to do that tomorrow. So the extra coil right there is in dire need of needing to be rewound. You can see all the wires crossing. That happens when it shifts. Ideally, I would carve into the wood like that deeper, and I would build this structure right there better, but I still, like I said, have not had time to address that yet. As you can see, the extra coil, most of the turns on there are overlapping. That is not good either. That will detune the coil as well. So just to give you an idea of how the magnifying transmitter was working when I sent electricity 918 miles, the extra coil was not helping us out. It was solely the secondary coil right there and the primary. The secondary is that red wire all right there, but it comes down and goes to the ground right there. And sometimes I ground it to the pool, sometimes I ground it to this rod right there, but it does not connect to where all the power source comes in. The power from all that comes in on this and then goes back to that. So this wire and these wires do not connect, and the top of the secondary connects into the extra coil right there actually, and the top of the extra coil goes to that sphere. So the bottom of their secondary is going to the ground. So one side is grounded, the other side goes to that sphere. So just to give you an idea of how out of tune the extra coil is, last time I measured it, it was resonating at 272 kilocycles, or 272,000 hertz. It's supposed to be resonating for ideal conditions at 168,000 hertz, or 168 kilocycles. So this thing was not helping us at all. It still is not helping us. But we'll see some interesting effects when I fire it up in a minute. This thing may catch on fire while I do that. I mean, sometimes that happens because the turns are not spaced ideal and fire will break out on your extra coil. That can also happen with your secondary. So when you observe the sparking on this plate right here, which I have connected to this wire which comes straight off the top of the secondary, it connects right there. This goes into the extra coil, but let's just disconnect the extra coil since it's not helping us out really. Give me 1 second. Okay, now it is disconnected. Now we will just connect this wire right there. There we go. So this wire is going to come down to this metal plate right here. This side is grounded, that metal plate is grounded. This connects to that wire. Okay, now we need to address the tank circuit. Okay, we have addressed the spark gap in the tank circuit. Now I believe we are ready to fire this thing up. So one more thing before I fire this up. I also have had people comment, oh wow, all that to power one light bulb. Well, if you think about it, it will only pull as much as that light bulb is pulling, and it's called a magnifying transmitter because it's already idling at a certain frequency when it's just sitting without the tank circuit powered up, because it's pulling RF and noise from the air. When you power up the tank circuit, it magnifies that effect and it sends electricity through the earth. The earth behaves as a wire, and to do this you have to be at a harmonic of the earth's natural frequency for this to work efficiently. Then it travels through the earth as if the earth were a perfectly polished conductor. So think of this thing like a radio station and the receiver coils like a radio, but it's way more efficient because it's connected with a wire, the earth. Also, this magnifying transmitter is not just capable of lighting one light bulb at a time. You can light quite a bit of light bulbs on this thing if that's what you desire. I guess let us now fire this up and see if it's going to work on the first try at starting it. Okay, rotary spark gap, that's on. Okay, it is working and there are no arc overs between the wires. Now let's wait for the sun to set and I will try that experiment again. So just to get an idea of how this works, if you have watched my previous videos, you'll have seen my diathermy machine and the little coil that I connect to it that's resonating with the diathermy machine. Think of our secondary and this circuit and the spark that comes out of that metal plate as our diathermy machine. But with my other diathermy machine, I only get 1-inch sparks out of the cauterizing terminal. Now imagine that's our cauterizing terminal and that extra coil would be our resonant coil. Now you can get an idea of the power of this thing. And this thing isn't even tuned ideal. Okay, I have adjusted the spacing on the plate a little bit more. Let's see if we still get sparks. Oh, now we're getting sparks on the extra coil. Wonderful. That's the thing about working with high frequency electricity. It does stupid, crazy things like this. Okay, I've insulated that terminal better. Let's try this again. Oh, now it wants to jump into the extra coil wire that's disconnected. What in the world? Excuse me. I think I'm going to have to do a part 2.